All right, guys, today I'm going to talk about the DJI FPV Combo drone. And I'm someone who is brand new to FPV. I've been interested in a while, but just it seemed a little intimidating to get into. So before I tell you about my thoughts and my experience over the past week, I'm going to introduce myself a little bit and my experience with drones. Back in 2017, I got the Mavic Platinum Pro. And it was a great drone for me. I really loved learning how to use it and fly it. I put together a reel that you can actually check out right here. In 2018, I traveled a lot and put together a reel. It was a great experience. I got some work from that. And that's pretty much my experience with drones. I crashed it in the beginning of 2019. And then at that point, I was looking to get back into it, but I was noticing FPV was around and it just seemed too intimidating. So I was waiting and never ended up doing anything. Fast forward to today, 2021, March, and the FPV Combo is here. So I bought it instantly. I knew I wanted it. And I'm going to talk a little bit about my process, about unboxing it, flying the sim, my thoughts on it, whether it's good. And today I just flew acro for the first time. It was super intimidating and scary, but I did it, and I'll show some footage of that later. So, some things that I'm hyped about. Ready to fly out of the box. You pretty much can't get that experience with any other FPV drone. It's DJI, so you know you're getting like a very simple experience, and especially if you come from the DJI space, you pretty much know what to expect. Simple. No need to buy separate parts, no need to assemble anything. Very simple. Okay, the next thing is the 3 flying modes: normal, sport, and acro. To be honest, I don't like the normal and sport mode that much. I think it's good for very simple shots if you're pretty much just going straight, or you want to be like at a very fixed speed in sport mode. I could see that kind of working, but my experience is that the turning has just not been good. I don't like it personally. I'm probably, like still behind on the learning curve. I feel like you probably could get used to it if you really wanted to, but if you want to do like good turns or very cinematic turns rather, you're going to be wanting to fly in acro anyways. So my experience flying in normal and sport mode, it's cool. I was able to put it up yesterday in those modes and just fly around and feel pretty confident I'm not going to crash because if you just stop, it's just straight hovers, which is great. So yeah, I personally just want to be able to get good at acro, but it was nice to have those modes. I think they'll have their own specific uses in the future. And to elaborate a little further, I think these 3 flying modes is what truly sets it apart from traditional FPV drones and other drones that DJI makes. You're able to easily work from a beginner mode to sport mode to get a little faster, get more dynamic movement and capabilities. But a downside that I should mention for beginners when you're diving directly into FPV like this and you're learning a normal and sport, it's actually going to maybe put you at a disadvantage for the future because the habits that you learn in sport are not anything like the habits that you need to have in acro. So when you're learning, switching between the two might hurt you in the long run. So that's just something to consider. And also to really highlight, this is a combo drone. This is not your traditional FPV drone. With this drone, you're getting safety features like pause flight and return to home. This is something that you cannot get on traditional FPV drones. Now, at the same time, this is not a traditional FPV drone. So you're going to lack areas that traditional FPV drones will shine in. This DJI FPV Combo drone is heavier, so you're not doing that much freestyle with this drone. But you can, but you're not going to want to because that's not what it's made to do. As comparison to a lighter drone, you can do those things. So I think it's really about doing a lot of research and knowing why you want to get into FPV and going from there. All right, so the reason why I want to get into FPV drones is for cinematic purposes. And it's important to distinguish cinematic purposes versus freestyle racing. With freestyle racing, you're going to want to do super quick turns and need to be super agile. When you're doing cinematic flying, you don't need to be as agile. So this is a reason why this drone is particularly good for me. So you need to know your reason about why you're getting into FPV in the first place. Another thing that is undisputed is the battery life with these drones. It's phenomenal. As I've been told, compared to traditional FPV flying. I didn't even know this. I don't even know how it come up in my research months ago, but with traditional FPV flying, you're only really getting a solid 2 to 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes on these battery packs. And I had no idea about that. But with these drones, you're able to get a very solid 10 minutes of full acro flying. And today I was able to get that. And I landed at 33% roughly. So I felt very confident flying pretty fast, but obviously not that fast because I'm still very, very new and novice and unskilled. So yeah, for me, cinematic flying, tree surfing, mountain surfing, very gradual carving turns, like that's kind of what I want to do. So that's why I think this FPV combo drone will be good for me. One other thing I think that's important to bring up, this is a combo drone. So when a lot of people that are bashing this drone, they're looking at it from just the point of view of only caring about acro. A lot of those people aren't really considering the benefits that you're getting with, let's see if I can get the remote control. This guy right here, stop, hover. This is not something that you can get on any FPV drone, to my knowledge at least. And this is a lifesaver. It's a game changer. So to have a functionality like that is a great, reason for me to get into this drone at least. Another thing that I thought before I got this drone that my mind actually changed as I've been learning is I was not interested in doing super fast flips and turns. It didn't interest me when I watched videos of people doing that, but as I've been playing the sim, I find how much fun it is to really do super fast turns and the racing part. So I think one cool thing about getting into FPV through this combo drone is it's made me realize I do want to fly other traditional FPV drones where you can do super fast turns, you could crash it, and it's not going to obliterate the drone. You can fix it, and it won't, you don't have to send it in. So that's something that I was wrong about from the get-go, that I really didn't think I would be interested in these spazzy turns and maneuvers and flips, but it's pretty fun in the sim, which I will show you guys at some point in this video. I might have already mentioned this, but the familiarity of DJI products is a huge benefit to why you would want to buy this drone. If you already have DJI products, very simple. You already know what you're getting into. All right, some reasons why I am not so hyped on this drone. Personally, I don't think that the camera quality is as good as a GoPro. Personally, I feel like the fisheye is too fisheyed, and I know you can change this in post, but you can crop in a little bit, but personally, I just think that the GoPro footage looks a lot better. It's pretty simple why. The GoPro has a bigger sensor. This camera does not have as big of a sensor. So that's just a personal feeling why I do not think this is as good as a GoPro. One other thing is that the props are going to get in your field of view, which is annoying, but again, you can just crop in. I personally don't like the way it looks, but again, just cropping in fixes that. This drone is expensive. It's not cheap. I spent $2,121 all said and done. I got DJI Care. I got the Fly More pack where you get 2 batteries, and then I also bought a third battery, so 4 batteries total I have, and I also got an extra set of props and a 128 gig micro SD card. So all of that said and done, 2121. Pretty expensive, but you're getting a lot, I guess. So that's another good point. You don't have to learn how to solder. You don't have to learn how to assemble. I feel like that is a huge thing to bring up, is that before this, if I wanted to get into FPV, I kind of have to have, in addition to the time, a dedicated studio, a space where I can solder and I can have a build studio. So that is something you don't need with this drone. You don't need a section of your house, like a workstation, which might not be such a big deal to a lot of people, but to some people, if you have limited space, you live in a small apartment, you might not have a space to solder or to get into that. I don't know the details with, air ventilation when it comes to soldering. Maybe it's not as big of a deal as I'm thinking it is, but to me, soldering just seems like such an investment. Anyways, so if I didn't already mention this, another reason why I'm not so hyped is, if you crash this thing, it's toast. You cannot crash this. So you better be flying on the sim a bunch, and you just can't be taking as big of a risk as you would normally be taking if you were flying something that is potentially able to fix once you crash. To end on a positive note with all those things, one other great thing is you're getting the goggles with this whole kit, which is a value of $569. So you buy all of this just to get yourself into FPV. And if you really like it, you can go out there and buy something else that's kind of ready to build from these FPV websites. And you have the goggles, which is one of the most expensive things. Something that I would love to happen is if they can get this remote control working with other kits, which you can't do at the moment, to my understanding. So that's a big negative, because you're getting used to learning to fly with this, and it'd be good to bring it on to your next drone. Okay, just a thought to consider about this drone is time versus money. Something that you're getting by spending a lot of money on this drone is you're not going to be spending a lot of time learning how to build and all of the nuance that comes with FPV drones. And that can kind of be a good or bad thing, depending on how you look at it. It's a good thing in that you're saving a lot of time in terms of knowing what parts to buy, learning the curve of batteries, how it can be apparently hard to just charge them, buying all of the parts, learning how to solder and assemble. Apparently there's something called beta flight. There's just a lot that goes into it. So you're saving a lot of time in exchange for spending more money. And I think that's a reason why a lot of the FPV, like hardcore enthusiasts, aren't hyped about this drone, is because there is some value that comes with learning how to build your own drone. A big part of this hobby is pushing the limits, and you're going to crash your drone. So that is a big downside with this drone, in that you can't crash it. So I have very mixed feelings about it, because on one hand, this drone gets you up and flying very fast, but you can't crash it, so you can't really push the limits. And with traditional FPV, you're learning how to build, assemble, solder, all those things, which are annoying and frustrating, but to truly be immersed in this hobby, you kind of need to crash. So that's something I've learned along the road, is like, it's almost like a weird space for this FPV drone to be in, because they get you up and flying fast, but you're skipping steps which might hurt you down the long run. And that can be avoided if you take it really easy and play it safe and don't push the limits. But then you're not diving down deep and having the full experience of FPV. So yeah, I have mixed feelings, but that's kind of something I wanted to express. If anyone can share their thoughts in the comments, that'd be great. I'm still gathering my thoughts on how I feel about it. All right, so let's talk about the sim. I spent a lot of time on the sim. So let's see, it's been 7 days. I've spent between 1 or 2 hours a day. So let's say between I would say about 10 hours over the past week I've spent on the sim. And at first, it is so frustrating. It is so backwards from anything you've ever done flying a traditional drone. So that was very discouraging. I was almost about to return this thing and say, screw this, I'm not gonna be able to learn this. But you can put in the time and you get a lot better. So yeah, I'll put up some video of me flying in the sim. You just gotta put in the time, you get the hang of it. It's funny, at first I was flying at the top angle 58 just because it honestly felt better. I didn't loosen the spring, so I made it still spring loaded, and I found it was very good actually. If you keep it at the center flying at 58, you're going to do a pretty much straight line. So I got used to that, and that was a bad habit. I ended up loosening it and making it not spring loaded. So now I fly at a more conservative 20 degrees to 25, and I'm getting better. So I'll show some of that footage up here. So after putting in that 10, maybe 12 hours on the sim, really felt like I got the hang of it, and I was still scared, but today I said, fuck it. I went out and I put it up, and here's some of the footage that I got. All right, so you can see here, this is my first time taking off. I took off in full manual, which was a kind of a decision that I was deciding to make, before I did it, was whether I could, start normal, get up really high, and then switch into manual, but I felt that would be too weird. So I just decided to start in manual, and it worked out just fine, as you can see. Just floating around, going real slow, popping up. Yeah, and then I do this dive, and it definitely was jittery. Got a little too close for comfort. That didn't feel too good. All right, now for the rest, I'm just going to let the whole 10 minutes that I flew and recorded play, and I'm just going to react to myself. If you want, you should probably just skip over this or go as you want. Feel pretty good going slow, like just hovering, felt pretty comfortable. Turning around, it's pretty funny. See that group of girls to the right down there? They were recording a TikTok or something. They were freaking out, just being like little middle school girls, just like yelling like, "Oh my God!" It was pretty funny. You shoot up super fast, I have to say. It's mad fun to pop up really quickly with like a real cool scenic landscape. I'm sure it would be a lot more fun. Like, this is just the training ground. This is like middle school close to my house that happens to have really big open field, which is super nice. And to the right, at some point, you'll be able to see, yep, there's a golf course. So I think eventually, once I get good enough, I'll take it into the golf course. I do want to practice going around those football posts, but definitely was not comfortable enough today. So I brought in the goggle view, which I recorded also. It's in 4:3, and it's worth pointing out that you get more field of view when you're recording in 4:3 top down. So I just wanted to bring that in and show you guys. And you can also see that it's less stabilized, or it's not stabilized at all in the goggles, and the export in drone is stabilized. Yeah, something with FPV that I guess takes a lot of getting used to is you always have to be moving forward when you have like a 20-degree tilt. Oh, I did my first flip. It's really not hard to do flips. You just have to like fully commit. It's totally easy. Going for a dive, not getting low near enough. I love doing the little like drift in the air. When you can control it, it feels super good to do those little drifts. And I guess what you saw right there, that black, that's prop wash, which you do see sometimes. Just kind of annoying. A lot of people are complaining about that right now, a lot of prop wash. Getting kind of low, not too low. And that was something else that I wanted to say is that, when you fly FPV, it's only really fun when you're close to the ground. When you're high up, it doesn't feel that fun. You get that real excitement when you're low to the ground or you're like going around obstacles. Another thing you can see at that left spot right there, the shadow of the drone is almost like really shiny. It's you see it every now and then. Right there, right now, you kind of see like a weird shininess of the shadow, which I can't explain. I guess it's reflecting off the drone. I'm not entirely sure what's going on. You can see it when I face away from the sun. Today I didn't try and get any shots at all. I was really just trying to stay alive, sometimes get kind of low. I think tomorrow maybe I'll try and circle some objects, like really plan out a shot, but I still think I'm far away from really planning out any shots that would look remotely good to use cinematically. It takes a lot of practice to get remotely good at this. That shot right there felt okay if like I was trying to go between those two benches pretending as if they were trees or some type of thing. Yeah, you can really get taken off. Like if you get a little bit, uncoordinated or unbalanced, like discombobulated, and you're just like going, all of a sudden you could just be in a totally another section. So you gotta really stay on top of what you're doing. Yeah, that felt pretty washed out right there. Definitely not feeling good right there. Bring it back though. I liked that dive right there, or that low shot and then pop up. That felt okay. Today the goal was just to pretty much go back and forth, try and be as comfortable as I can. Almost imagine this whole thing is a massive half pipe. That's something that I'd like to get good at, just like really consistently, just riding the back and forth like it was a massive half pipe, like shooting up, riding low, and then shooting up, turning around, coming back. But that can get boring, and I think it's interesting. Like the more you do something just over and over again, you want to push it more and more to get more of a rush, and that can definitely kind of be a bad thing when you're trying to push your limits. It's more better to, you know, maybe like take a break. So if you just try and push the limits, you're gonna crash. And I think in terms of practicing, you can't really practice all that much in a wide open space. You really do have to practice going around obstacles, and that increases the risk. So it's all about just hedging your bets, because in order to get good, you do have to just practice going around obstacles or going under things or through things, and you're not necessarily going to get good just practicing in a wide open space like this. I guess that's where the sim comes in. You just got to put in a ton of time in the sim on the sticks. Right there you can see I smashed the pause button, the brakes, and it worked perfectly. Hit the brakes and you can just land in normal. What is weird though is flying the normal and sport mode while you have the spring-loaded stick off. I actually played around for a second here in sport mode with the sticks, you know, not sprung. So I played around with having it on cruise control, going like a slow speed. Again, I think it has its place, but I really just want to learn full acro. It was really muddy, so I was trying to choose a spot that wouldn't be too muddy, but it worked out fine. Eventually just got it into N, normal mode, set her down. Something that's really nice is having this gimbal again, being able to bring it down so you can really see. You can't do that with any other FPV drones, to my knowledge. It had to be an axis gimbal, which this drone has. And there you go. That's a safe, easy landing in the normal mode. First session done. All right, guys, so that is 1 week with the FPV Combo drone. That's my experience. Someone who owned a Mavic for a period of time and has been wanting to get back into drones, and this just seemed like the best fit for me. It's only been 1 week, and I've gotten this good, so that's very encouraging for me. I still see so much potential in terms of how much better I could get, so that's great. There's a lot of excitement with wanting to get into traditional FPV, where I could get something like a Cinewhoop that I could crash and it wouldn't demolish it, it wouldn't be obliterated. It's a really fun hobby, and I think if you have the time and the patience, it's going to be something that you're going to really enjoy. So look at your options. There's so many videos on YouTube to check out, and peruse about. So thanks a bunch for watching. If you could like and subscribe, that'd be huge. I'm going to be making more content. I'm going somewhere exciting in the next month, so if you follow along, I'm definitely going to have some more clips, surfing and drone flying. So tag along, sub up, please. All right, peace, guys.